Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, hope you always in good conditions. So what's weather today? In my locations, the weather is good, not cloudy and not hot too. So in the good conditions. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Febrianty Detafany with NIM 2103405 from study program Physics, class Physics A of Padang National University. So in this video, I will try to give you an information about science of physics, that was Ohm's law. So without any further ado, let me start to the topic that I want to share to all of you. Ohm's law states that the current through a conductor between 2 points is directly proportional to the voltage across the 2 points. Introducing the constants of proportionality, the resistance once arrived at the usual mathematical equations that describe this relationship. So this is the pictures of V, I, and R, the parameters of Ohm's law. I equals V divide R, where I is the current through the conductor in units of amperes, V is the voltage measured across the conductor in units of volt, and R is the resistance of conductor in units of ohms. More specifically, Ohm's law states that the R in these relations is constant, independent of the current. If the resistance is not constant, the previous equations cannot be called Ohm's law, but it still can be used as a definition of static or DC resistance. Ohm's law is an empirical relation which accurately describes the conductivity of vast majority of electricity conductive materials over many orders of magnitude of current. However, some materials do not obey Ohm's law. These are called non-ohmic. The law was named after the German physicist George Ohm, who in a treatise published in 1827 described measurements of voltage and current through simple electrical circuits containing various lengths of wire. Ohm explained his experimental results by a slightly more complex equations than the modern form above. In physics, the terms of Ohm's law also used to revert to various generalizations of the law. For example, the vector form of the law used in electromagnetics and material science, where J is the current density at given locations in the resistive materials, E is the electric field at the locations, and sigma is the material-dependent parameter called conductivity. This reformulation of Ohm's law is due to Gustav Kirchhoff. Ohm did his work on resistor in the years 1825 and 1826 and published his results in 1827 as a book, Die galvanische mathematische Bearbeitung, or in English, the galvanic circuit investigated mathematically. He drew considerable inspirations from various work on heat conductions in theoretical explanations of his work. For experiment, he initially used voltaic piles, but later used a thermocouple as this provided a more stable voltage surge in terms of internal resistance and constant voltage. He used a galvanometer to measure currents and knew that the voltage between the thermocouple terminal proportional to the junction temperature. He then added test wires and varying length, diameter, and materials to complete the circuit. He found that his data could be modeled through the equations. X equals A divided B plus L, where X was the reading from the galvanometer, L was the length of the test conductor, A dependent on the thermocouple junction's temperatures, and B was a constant of the entire systems. From this, Ohm determined his law of proportionality and published his result. In modern notations, we would write I equals epsilon divided R plus R, where epsilon is the open circuit amps of the thermocouple, R is the internal resistance of the thermocouple, and big R is the resistance of the test wire. In terms of the length of the wire, this becomes I equals epsilon divided R plus big R L, where R is the resistance of the test wire per unit length. Thus, Ohm's coefficients are A equals epsilon divided R and B equals small r divided big R. Ohm's law is an empirical law, a generalization from many experiments that have shown that current is approximately proportional to electric field for most materials. It is less fundamental than Maxwell's equations and is not always be obeyed. Any given material will break down under a strong enough electric field, and some material of interest in electrical engineering are non-ohmic under weak field. Ohm's law has been observed on a wide range of length scales. In the early 20th century, it is thought that the Ohm's law would fail at the atomic scale, but experiments have not borne out these expectations. As of 2012, researchers have demonstrated that Ohm's law works for silicon wires as small as 4 atoms wide and 1 atom high. Just until here, the theory that I can spend to give you more information about Ohm's law. From this, we can conclude that Ohm's law was a law founded by a German physicist, George Ohm, where Ohm's law is a statement of the amount electric current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the voltage applied to it. With formula I equals V divided R, where I is the amperes, V is the voltage, and R is the resistance. That's all I can give. Apologize if there is a mistake word and informations. I hope from watching my video, you guys can understand what Ohm's law is. So without any further ado, thanks for watching and bye-bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.